think about the slapper when it comes to a slap. You think about the slappy.
Will Smith's movie Bad Boys 4 is out, and so many people are talking about it. Have you seen the movie? What do you think about it? There are some people saying they cannot wait to go see the movie. I think a lot of people are excited about this particular one. But as much as so many people are excited about this movie, there is someone who is not excited about this movie or any of Will Smith's movies since the Oscar happened between Will Smith and Chris Rock. The Stephen A. Smith talk about how he hasn't seen any of Will Smith's movie and how he's struggling to see or to go watch any of Will Smith's movie because he thinks that Will Smith owes the black community an apology as to the reason why he slapped Chris Rock at the Oscar. And people are reacting to it saying, we never told you that we need an apology from Will Smith. We know the reason why Will Smith literally slapped Chris Rock. We didn't tell you to help us tell him that the black community needs an apology from him because we already know why he did that. I have put together the clip where Stephen A. Smith explained why he's not going to be seeing this movie and as well what people have to say about him demanding apology for the black community.
When we use the word forgivable or forgiveness, that's for Chris Rock to deal with. It's his call. He could have had the man arrested that night and insisted to the LAPD that that not be the case. Could have pressed charges thereafter and insisted on not doing that to Will Smith, not making the incident any bigger than what it was. Yes, he came out with his own flick for next fix, got about $20 million for it. After tax, he probably walked home with about $6 million. But Chris Rock is damaged. In the day and age of mental illness or traumatic incidences that affects one's mind and psyche and what have you, yeah, you might see him at Knicks games. Yeah, you might see him still going about the business of performing on tour or doing his job or handling his business. Chris Rock will never get over that. Ever. Will Smith apologized. I'm not saying he even has to apologize. I'm saying that while I watch him and Martin Lawrence promoting this movie, and I'm quite sure the reason he hasn't addressed it is because the studios don't want him to, and there's an obligation that you have with them, all fair. I get it. But somewhere along the way, he has to sit down and talk to the black community. You can see all the white people around Will Smith all you want to. Black folks have loved and revered this man for decades. He was the closest thing to perfection, as his friend Charlie Mack once told me, for decades. Everybody makes a mistake. This is not hatred. I love Will Smith still. But you got to have a conversation as to why you did that.
Stephen A. Smith believed the black community is dumb enough not to know the reason why Will Smith did what he did to Chris Rock at the Oscars. And then he mentions white comedians like Jim Carrey, Ricky Gervais, Bill Burr as to he would not have done that to them what he did to Chris Rock. You want to know the reason why he wouldn't have done the same thing to them? It's because they have not spent decades disrespecting Will Smith's wife and family the way Chris Rock has. They would not have even made the joke to begin with. You also mentioned comedians like Jim Carrey had something to say after what happened at the Oscars, though Jim Carrey should have stayed out of the conversation given the non-consenting things he did to Cameron Diaz on the stage. He did not need to enter the chat. You've already stated how Will Smith has apologized, and he does not need to apologize any further. You just need to know why. If you still have not figured out the why after all this time, then you never need to know the reason why because you will never understand. While you may have found it hard, the black community has not. Bad Boys Ride or Die had one of the biggest R-rated film openings in years.
Make it make sense for me. Y'all want to boycott Will Smith. Y'all want to hate Will Smith for doing what he was supposed to do, which should have been done a long time ago with the whole slap to Chris Rock. But y'all still talking about free R. Kelly. Make it make sense for me. Will Smith did what was supposed to have been done to a black man who basically uses black women as the butt of his jokes. And he's been doing that for years. Sits with his other comedic friends who are actually, and tell them, oh yeah, it's cool to use the N-word. I'm just trying to understand where y'all mad at Will at. But y'all talking about I ain't going to see because I'm still pissed about. But y'all still stepping in the name of love and making R. Kelly go viral. And now like, what the... Yo, I can't.
Stephen A. Smith still worried about that damn Oscar slap because he said that Will Smith owes the black community a conversation on why he slapped Chris Rock in the first place. First of all, Stephen A. Smith, you need to let that Oscar slap go like you let your hairline go. Second of all, we know why he slapped Chris Rock. He said it very loud and proud. Keep my wife's name out your mouth. Is there an extended cut to the Oscar slap that I didn't know about? Is there a video, a version of it where Stephen A. Smith gets slapped too? Because if not, Stephen A. Smith, I respectfully say.
Here's another idea that's going to be very controversial. You could shut the up.
And just in case you blind or too overly woke and you don't want to guess my race, I am of the black community. I spoke to a lot of us. There's a lot of niggas that don't give a damn, Steven. So don't try to use us. If you want Will to give you a personal apology for whatever reason, then say that. Other than that, watch Frozen and let it go with your dumb ass.
Yeah, if it's one person that I really dislike is this man right here. Imagine you coming up on the internet saying you can't get over a slap that had nothing to do with you. Like, I'm really lost in the sauce. I don't like this man when he speaks basketball, and I don't like him when he's speaking about news that he just should stay out of. All right, so a little background news. Basically, he's talking about how Will and Martin basically, made the box office and hit numbers, and he can't get over or support Will. Why did people think that Will was going to be canceled over slapping Chris Rock? That is losing me, because I never felt like this man's career was ever going to plummet because he slapped Chris. Like, let's really talk about it. Whether he's loved by white people or not, like, I feel like black people still love Will Smith. Like, what are we talking about? Another issue is, just because a man or a woman is loved by white people doesn't mean that they're dancing for white people. It doesn't matter. Like, he's well liked because he's Will Smith. He has produced so many movies for him to be liked, not only by black people. So for this to be an issue is a bit weird to me. And I really don't understand. If he already apologized for the slap years ago or whenever it happened, why does he now need to come out? Why is it so hard for people to see him who he is? Chris literally talked about that man's wife, called her G.I. Jane, and humiliated her when she was struggling with alopecia. Like, let's really be for real. There's a whole lot of people that deserve to be canceled, and that's why I feel like black people, our community, pick and choose when to cancel people. Literally. Canceling Will would be an absolute joke.
Will Smith don't owe us a goddamn thing, Stephen A. Smith. He don't owe the black community nothing, bro. He's done enough for us. The brother gave us the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. He gave us the Bad Boy series. He gave us the Men in Black series. He gave us Summertime. He gave us Parents Just Don't Understand, bro. He gave us damn near 60 years of his life to entertain black people, bro. Was he perfect? No. Is his personal life a little shaky? Yeah. But at the end of the day, that black man don't owe us nothing. Nothing. Well, he got to apologize to the black community because he smacked the piss out that man on live TV. I would have done the same. What are you talking about? Don't be mad because you're not built for Cuban links and you let somebody sit here and disrespect your wife in national television in front of millions of people. That's your thing? Cool, let that happen. Matter of fact, you do seem like the type that let that happen because you let that white boy Max Kellerman come on your show and cook you for years before you dropped him. Oh, okay.
Okay, so Stephen A. Smith continues to spiral like his hairline. The battle of the fake lineups. He says Will Smith needs to talk to the black community about Chris Rock's Oscar slap. Did we already talk about it? We talked about it, right? We talked enough. We want to see some action now. Everybody was looking like, if anybody needs to talk to the black community, it's Stephen A. Smith. Okay, you've been questionable lately. At this point, you're talking about the WNBA more than us. Did anybody tell you that? Mr. Smith calling out Mr. Smith is hilarious. That's a movie right there. Mr. and Mr. Smith. Who does the black community trust more? Will! We trust Will Smith, William Smith, Willard Smith. On top of that, Chris Rock's probably at home trying to forget about the slap. Okay, he's at home icing his cheeks, and here you come. Chris Rock needs an apology. Monica McNutt needs an apology.
Stephen A. Smith says he still finds it hard to watch Will Smith movies after what went down with him and Chris Rock. Then he went on to say Will Smith owes a conversation to the black community on why he did what he did. Boy, if you don't sit down somewhere, boy, hairline moonwalking back talking about what Will owes somebody. Will Smith does not owe anybody an explanation on why he did what he did. Maybe he can chop it up with Chris Rock. That's the only person he owes anything to, right? Will Smith is one of the greatest actors we have seen. The man made a mistake. Hey, he did what he did. I'm not going to sit here and be like, I ain't never going to watch a Will Smith movie because what he had done to Chris Rock. Did he do it to you? Did he do that to you, my nigga? Stephen A. Smith is the same dude that was calling the NBA trying to get Russell Westbrook suspended. You know what I'm saying? This man has moved on. He's a great actor. Bad Boys 4 is out. Bad Boys 4 is out, boy. And niggas is gonna watch Bad Boys 4. Some of us just gonna wait till it's not in theaters no more. You know what I'm saying? You know how niggas do. You know what I'm saying? But when it come out on TV, we gonna watch it. When it come out on one of these apps, we gonna watch it.
So Bad Boy 4 Ride or Dies out, and Stephen A. Smith jumps out there and says he wants Will Smith to clear up things before he goes and watches the movie. First off, I want to start by saying, who the hell are you, Stephen A. Smith? You ain't God. He ain't got to clear up things for you to go watch the movie. If you don't want to watch it, don't go watch it. The numbers are still doing what they're supposed to do at the box office. The numbers speak for themselves. And Stephen A. Smith, you ain't no spokesperson for black society, the black community, especially not foundational black Americans, because we bet over that. You just said that out of bad faith that you want him to issue or he owes the black community some kind of apology. He don't owe us nothing. He's a man and he did what he thought he had to do. Sometimes, unfortunately, people jump out there and do things and say things. That man, Chris Rock, attacked his wife, and he jumped out there and protected his wife. What any man would have did. Truth be told, I would have did it. And sometimes, unfortunately, these are the kind of things that happen when people say nonsense and just say things off the top of their dome without thinking before they speak. And Stephen A. Smith, every time I hear your name, it's attached to cooning, shucking, and jobbing, and you ain't nothing more than a tether. You don't speak for foundational black American culture. You don't speak for our lineage. We ain't fixated on him owing us an explanation or apology. We been done got over that. Will Smith is our brother, and Will Smith, he did what he had to do. Any man would do that and take it up for their wife. And Stephen A. Smith, every time I hear your name, it's attached to shucking and jobbing and just being a sellout trying to earn butter biscuits from the white dominant society. You ain't no spokesperson for black people, so you should keep your mouth closed, Stephen A. Smith, and just stay in your lane. But, you just want to earn some kind of points and just jump out there and say things to keep your name relevant in the lexicon. You got somebody telling you what to say. You in them pockets. We know you in them pockets of the dominant society. You can't deny that, because this happened almost 2 years ago, maybe 2 and some change, and you still talking about it? This was done in bad faith. Only people still worried about that slap is haters and white supremacists, truth be told, because we in the foundational black community, we been done forgave our brother Will Smith, and it wasn't nothing to forgive. A man going to do what they want to do, you know what I mean? A man going to make the decisions he feels necessary, and a man, once he makes those decisions, he don't owe no explanation. The only person he owes an explanation to, if he wants to apologize, is to that person or to the creator. He don't owe no man no explanation for any actions he did. Men do things, and it just is what it is. But Stephen A. Smith, you ain't nothing more than a tether and saying things to stay relevant and get your biscuits from the dominant society. Just my thoughts on the matter. Peace.
The truth is, when I see Will Smith, I forget that he slapped Chris Rock. But if I see Chris Rock, I always think about him getting slapped by Will Smith. I don't associate that slap with Will Smith. I associate it with Chris Rock. You don't think about the slapper when it comes to a slap. You think about the slappee. So when they talk about the box office for this new Bad Boys movie and how it's a surprise that it made money because Will Smith slapped Chris Rock, I have to ask you, What are you talking about? Not a single soul cares about Will Smith slapping Chris Rock anymore. Nobody cares. And if you do care, then you are just using that as an excuse to hate on somebody that you probably never would gonna support anyway. Because I saw a comment from somebody who's like, I was never a fan of the guy anyway. Exactly. That's the point. You don't really like him and now you feel justified to not like him, but your money was never going to the projects. People who like him don't care. And people who don't care because it was a slap. I mean, it was a very public slap. It was at the Academy Awards. He technically was punished. I mean, he's banned from attending the Academy Awards for the next decade. That's the equivalent of you slapping somebody in Walmart not being allowed to come inside that Walmart no more. There are people in Hollywood that have abused and tortured people that have partaked in every phobia and ism known to man. And yet nobody's surprised when their movies make money. I think apologizing for a slap is a
Black people are saying we did not send you to ask for an apology for us. In fact, you are the only person still stuck in this slap because we have moved on and we are here to watch the bad boy fall. Like, why are you so pressed about the slap that you were not involved in? If like half of the slap had gone to you, maybe we will not be having this conversation. You are saying we are so dumb to not know the reason why Will Smith slapped Chris Rock. This is someone who has literally talked down on his wife, even publicly. This is someone who has constantly disrespected and talked down on his wife. The only person people are saying that Will Smith owes an apology is his wife and family and close friends. Saying that you're not going to see his movie because you think he owes you an apology or the Black community an apology they never asked for is crazy. Let me hear what you guys think about Stephen A. Smith's take, because there are still people supporting what he said. There are people saying, yes, we stand by you, Stephen, like you are so right. We want an apology. This person said, after Chris Rock allowed Louis C.K. and Ricky Gervais to say the N-word, he needed to get smacked. Another person said, Stephen A. Smith can kick rocks. Will Smith doesn't have to apologize. He did what he felt was right by supporting his wife when the troll was told to not use gender in his jokes. Yeah, why are you using someone whose wife is suffering from alopecia? Why are you using them to crack jokes? It's very sensitive, so insensitive to have done that, not just like in a private place or on a show that millions of people are tuned in and millions of people are present. Another person said they watch Mark Wahlberg movies without question, and dude has a whole rap sheet for assaulting minorities and hate crimes. The A-team move on. So show Will that same grace. I don't think the same grace is going to be applied to Will, but yeah. Another person said, so Stephen A. Smith can say he's the one that brought Will and Chris back together along with the Black community. FOH Stephen with your lame ass. Another person said, I see what Stephen A. Smith is saying, but it is between Chris and Will now. Also, I assume that Chris knows that there are going to be consequences for certain jokes. Like when you decide to make fun and jokes of someone's wife going through alopecia, you should know what to expect. Another one said, how are we forgiving a man protecting his Black wife from years of Chris bullying her? What needs to be forgiven? Team Will. Stephen is problematic to the community. He needs a timeout. He really needs to go touch some grass. Another one said, the fact that people are asking for another apology is wild. Like, what more do you want from him? And banning him was doing the most, especially since they're still letting Woody Allen in the door. What do you guys think about Stephen A. Smith literally asking for an apology on behalf of the Black community? As a Black person, do you think Will Smith owes you an apology for slapping Chris Rock during the Oscar? Do you think Stephen A. Smith is right for requesting an apology for the Black community? Let me hear what you guys think about all of this, because honestly, people are not having it. People are saying, we are not asking for this. Whatever it is you're saying, you can shove it down your hair, but we are going to go watch Bad Boys 4. And you guys is rolling money in, and I think this is one of the reasons why Stephen A. Smith is even more pissed that people are spending money to go watch the movie, because he thinks that Will owes the Black community an apology in order for him to be able to move on. If he doesn't watch, I'm sure other people are going to watch, and I don't think him not watching is going to reduce or affect anything. Let's continue this conversation, and I will catch you guys in the next one.